injured, that they're in trouble or difficulty, then there arises, it could be worry, concern, grief, a sense of misery. But that grief or misery, though one thinks it's an altruistic feeling, but if we examine it closely, we'll see that it's really a self-referential feeling. One is grief-stricken because this person is dear to me. This is my beloved son, my beloved daughter, my beloved brother or sister. And so when they are in trouble, then one feels agitated and distressed because it's someone who is dear to myself. When one has true compassion, let's say a highly developed level of compassion, then when one hears about the suffering of those who are dear to oneself, one won't be grief-stricken, but one will still be concerned. But it's the concern which arises from a true wish to eliminate their suffering, not from the feeling that I will be deprived of somebody who's loved by myself. Okay, then the third divine quality, again it arises based on loving kindness, but this is the quality that arises when we learn about the good fortune, the success, or good qualities of others. This quality is called in Pali mudita, which is based on the word or the verb muditi, which means to feel joy. So just taken by itself, mudita could be understood simply as joy. But when we take it in the context of the four Brahmaviharas, we see it has to be a kind of joy that is based on knowing about the success or good fortune of others. So when we see that others succeed, that others meet with good fortune, when we see that others have good qualities, worthy qualities, then instead of feeling envious and competitive and a sense of rivalry, then there arises joy and happiness in the heart. Joy and happiness for others who are blessed with the success and good fortune. And it's said in the commentaries that the opposite of mudita is aversion or discontent. So it seems to me that the real opposite of altruistic joy is envy. That is, when others succeed, when others display some virtuous qualities, one resents their success, and then one feels envy on that account. And then the near enemy is what is called worldly joy. And this is the joy that arises maybe because somebody who is close to you has achieved success. And then you're rejoicing, not because of this kind of detached joy for the other person, but you're joyful because that is one's beloved, dear and beloved wife, husband, son, daughter, brother, sister, whatever. Okay, now compassion and altruistic joy move the mind in a certain way. Compassion sort of shakes the mind, shakes the heart, can make the heart tremble. And mudita, altruistic joy, can cause this elation or uplifting of the heart. And so to perfect them, one has to develop the fourth divine abode, divine quality. This is called upekkha, which is equanimity. Now, equanimity here doesn't mean that one gives up compassion and altruistic joy in order to become cold and indifferent, but rather it's the development of a mind of impartiality towards beings and the ability to sort of step back from one's involvement in the suffering and good fortune of others and to look upon them with a mind that cannot be shaken, so that one can still experience the compassion, still experience the altruistic joy, but because one has developed this equanimity, the mind remains calm, composed, always well balanced. And so it's said in the commentaries that upekkha has the particular aspect or characteristic of impartiality towards living beings, looking upon all beings as the same, without discrimination or distinctions. And then the far enemy of upekkha is attachment to some and resentment or ill will towards others. So both of these show that the mind is not perfectly balanced. The mind is swinging towards one extreme in relation to those who are dear, towards the other extreme in relation to those who are hostile to oneself. So that is the far enemy. And the near enemy of upekkha is dull indifference or apathy. That's complete lack of concern for others. Or kind of complacency, just being satisfied with one's own well-being and success, but not caring about others. Okay, so these are the 4 divine abodes. If there's any questions about them, please feel welcome to ask.
Where does Schadenfreude fit? Is it more like the far enemy ill will?
What is what?
Or Schadenfreude, that is delight in someone else's injury or pain, without having caused it.
Is that a German word?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Freud is pleasure.
Yeah,
It's pleasure in sorrow. Like it's a large German theme in literature and philosophy, right, in the last century. But taking pleasure in someone else's suffering. Oh, it's a feeling when someone hears that someone else has been injured or sick or something like that, feeling satisfied by that.
They're happy with that.
Yeah. Is that more like ill will, or is it more in the category of aversion, discontent, and envy, or the far enemy of altruistic joy?
That seems to me to be closer to something like the far enemy of compassion.
Of compassion.
Even though cruelty, the word that's used here is cruelty.
Yeah.
But if you take delight, of course, cruelty or injured harmfulness implies that you yourself are inflicting the harm on others.
Yeah.
But I think it could also have a wider meaning,
Okay.
even of taking pleasure in knowing that others are undergoing suffering.
Okay. Fine. Thanks.
If worldly attachment based upon personal relationship is considered as the near enemy to loving kindness, why does the Metta Sutta teaches that one should develop loving kindness just like a mother towards her only child?
Now, once you give up what?
One should develop loving kindness
Why?
just as a mother towards her only child. one develops with the near enemy, and then transform that near enemy to
It would seem to me that one can begin by developing the kind of, okay, maybe this is the point, that one should develop don't forget it says, Evampi sabba bhutesu manasam bhavaya parimana, that one develops the mind of loving kindness towards all beings. So one uses the kind of love that the mother has towards the only child as the example of the kind of love that one should develop. But one has to develop that love towards all living beings. But it's just an example that's used in the sutta, maybe to be poetic. But also, I want to just add here that one shouldn't think from the fact that, okay, it said that attachment is the near enemy of loving kindness. So if you're married, you women shouldn't think from now on, I'm not even going to say hello to my husband in the morning. If he comes into the kitchen, I'm just going to remain silent. And if I meet him out in the street, I'll just pass him by like he was a stranger. And the husband shouldn't say, therefore, I'm not going to show any special kindness towards my wife. And if you have children, I'm not going to help my children in any way. Why should I help my child rather than help the children of others? So I just treat all children the same with complete indifference. Let them fare for themselves. Let them cook their own meals. Why should I cook for them? No, I think within the context of your day-to-day life, still have to show affection and treat your husband, wife, children with some kind of special kindness. But it just means that when one is practicing metta as a meditative discipline, that one should be careful not to mistake that feeling of attachment for the feeling of loving kindness.
Bhante, you mentioned the compassion, the heart trembling, and the altruistic joy, the heart filled with joy, and then the balance and equanimity. Yeah. Is there a quality of the heart that you would describe for metta?
You know, the way I would describe the quality of metta, I say it's the mind suffused with this real wish for the well-being and happiness of others. It's difficult to think of a metaphorical quality, the way you think of the heart trembling for compassion, uplifted with joy, but maybe it's almost like a kind of pushing quality in the heart. Pushing out or suffusing that wish for the well-being and happiness of others. Maybe a radiating quality in the heart.
Thank you. Can it be, speaking as I'm a mother with an only child, it seems as I get older and as I practice that at moments, at least, the attachment that I feel for my daughter, my self-referential wish for her happiness in my terms, can give way to moments of metta.
Can give way?
Yes, that the near enemy can almost be an object for me as a worldling.
Yeah.
I can take attachment itself, and at moments it can be refined or open up into metta.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. And so, when one is developing metta, this doesn't mean that one shouldn't take the people who are dear and close to oneself as objects of metta. Because even within the normal sequence, of the persons that one chooses, according to the method of Visuddhimagga, one does take a dear and close person, and it can be one's own child. But as one is practicing, one has to be able to distinguish, is this a feeling of sort of natural, instinctual, maternal attachment to the daughter, or am I really developing loving kindness towards her? And as one goes on with the practice of metta, then one gets a clearer sense of what is the distinctive flavor or the felt tone of loving kindness. And so then one can replace the sort of clinging feeling of attachment with the genuine feeling of loving kindness, even towards those who are very close and dear to oneself. Okay, I'll just take one more question, then the question from the internet. Then I want to go on and finish the sutta.
It's not really a question, but just my experience of it, I think that the impermanence, and that always is in the back of my mind as far as the clinging, because you can't really cling to something that's impermanent. So that always, like with my metta, that kind of is like my stabilizing thing.
Okay, that's a good observation, but that is sort of bringing in the aspect of wisdom in order to sort of cool off the attachment that might...
But yet there's a very warm-hearted quality to it.
There's a very what?
Warm-hearted, like the metta.
Yeah,
for
of
me,
course.
warm-hearted.
Yeah. Okay, then let me just take the internet question. Okay, he says, in the Brahmavihara table, is the far enemy the object of vanquishment, maybe relinquishment, with proper practice, and the near enemy the danger of unskillful practice? Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.